one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. It's gotta mean something to you. It gotta mean something. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2 3. 1 2 3.
You ready to make history? Come on now. Yeah. You know there's these two words. And when I say them, people get goosebumps cause they know what happens next. So without further ado,
Free smoke.
look. Scared cause I'm drowning in silence with bad thoughts. These days I don't have nothing to say, man, the bag talks. I put in headphones on my driver. Pull up to the spot and give a good dick and Godiva. I can't lie, I'm uninspired. No more pillow talking about nonsense. I only stick around to put some band-aids on my conscience. I don't know why I feel so bad, nigga. That's what we do, no foundation. We don't build no more, we just screw. Half a bottle of Henny, girl, I'm going with the wind. The same niggas say they happy for me, ain't want me to win. So I'm done on my friends. Don't need help popping Coronas and reminiscing. I just call up Big Bro J and say it's time for venting. If I live forever, I hold this hate for some centuries. You don't know how much I have you doing what it meant to me, but motherfuck all that. I don't even offer up the time to make the call back. Stupid Lodo, if they don't get the picture now, man, I crop them out of the photo. I can't relate to my peers. Been doing this shit for years. I'm motivated by fears. I took the wheel and I steer. My sound not dictated by fuck boys in Atlanta. Stay gifted like this album was ghost written by Santa Bars forever, like they decided to throw me under Slammer. Every song's a hit like they picture me underhanders. I could drop 1,000,000 songs, but they never gon' understand us. Soapbox sermons for niggas never giving chances. Fight our whole lives to get these weak ass advances. Work twice as hard for the shit that they getting handed. And this ain't even nothing we chose, nigga, we branded. Still can't tell why all of these niggas mad at me. I'm trying to get 100 so I can put my team on salary. Give it all to the art, man, I turn my life to a gallery. Man, damn, what a fucked up masterpiece. 1,100 shots and I swear, man, I felt them all. If we ain't even good on our blocks, man, who can we call? Pre-decline state of mind, we broke crabs in the barrel. Got us fighting our folk, man, this shit just a life of peril.
Winning has a price. And leadership has a price.
Y'all be asking that same question, how does it feel when we lose, bro? How do you think? You know what I'm saying? I gotta come up with another question than asking how does it feel when we lose, bro. I'm tired of hearing that.
Welcome to another episode of the recap on Saints World. We got a lot of football to get to. Got a lot of football to talk about. I'm telling you, every time, like, I can't say that everything is perfect in life for me right now. I can't say that. But every time you're getting things under control, you know, you got a plan for things. Your card just says, fuck those plans. It's very interesting tactic. Very interesting tactic. But in my mind, see, it's my tire. My tire randomly want to be dog shit. And I don't know if I should waste money getting it plugged or if I should just, because I'm pretty sure it's no plugging that's going to save it. It look like it's about to just pop because I put air in it yesterday. That shit went flat out of nowhere yesterday. I put air in it, and now it look like it's about to pop. I do have a spare tire, like, not like a donut. I got a legitimate replacement tire sitting under the car, though, that's screwed in under the car. So I could just, what I'm thinking I'm going to do is pop that off tomorrow, go get it pumped, and change the tire. And I'm hoping everything is good after that. You know what I'm saying? I'm hoping everything is good after that. But who knows? I'm not even sure. Oh, yeah. That shit already got a rim on it, too. Like, it's not like a tire without a rim. It's got a rim on it and everything. So I'm hoping it's just that simple. But then I thought to myself, my jack, like, I got a one of those jacks that's like, I got a pretty expensive jack. The shit is in my other car that's in the shop right now. You really can't make this up, to be completely honest with you. You can't make this up. So, you know, that is how, but I'm almost certain I have another solution. So we'll talk about this again on whenever I drop the next show after this one. But anyways, week 10 in the NFL. We got a lot to talk about. But first, before we get into any of the games that happened on Sunday, we have to go back and talk about that game that happened on Thursday. The Baltimore Ravens were at home taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. They took on each other earlier in the season in Cincinnati. What was a thriller of a game. And then they did it again this past Thursday night in what was yet another thriller of a game. Now, to a lot of the white analysts who can't stand seeing a white knight lose, the first thing they want to talk about in this game, the referees. The referees cost them. All the referees cost Cincinnati. Cincinnati was up 21-7. If you put Lamar Jackson in the exact same situation Joe Burrow was in, the first thing that the media would not have said is, the referees. The first thing the media would have said was hard to blame the refs when the Ravens had a 21-7 lead. Obviously, that does not apply to Joe Burrow because when he loses, the first thing they want to do is make excuses. But, nonetheless, a lack of a... and matter of fact, before I even get into that next one, I saw Pat McAfee say that if the refs make that call, Cincinnati wins this game. How do you know that? It was basically 48 seconds left on the clock, 38 seconds, and the Ravens had 2 timeouts. Lamar had just scored on his last 4 drives. Who's to say he don't get in field goal range? So I'm not understanding that opinion either. But, I am not an idiot. I know that the white guys are going to love the white quarterbacks. And if there is any way they can make an excuse for these motherfuckers, they will. So, it is what it is in that front. But Cincinnati loses 34-35 on a failed 2-point conversion at the end of the game. Now, I want to talk about this 2-point conversion, because I've been seeing a lot of people talk about, they should have went for it. Okay, let me talk to you. Cincinnati is now 4-6 after this game. Going into this game, they were 4-5. Cincinnati still have a very good chance of making a wild card, but they did not help their chances on the night. Now, this is what I want to say about Cincinnati. The only teams you done beat are teams that are under 500. They have yet to beat a team that's over 500. They have yet to beat a team that we consider a good team. Even if it was a team that's not necessarily over 500, might be at 500. No. They haven't even beat that type of team. They're only beating the worst teams in the league. That's the first thing. 2, you have to find a way to try to beat one of these, or maybe 2 of these great teams. The great teams that are over 500 that are more than likely going to be in the playoffs. You got to find a way to beat those teams. Going for 2 points in that situation, saying to yourself, we couldn't stop Lamar these last couple of drives, so we're not going to stop him again, so we might as well try to go for them. I don't understand that type of pre-play logic. Because, now I understand that type of logic when you are not competing for a playoff spot. I understand that type of logic when you're competing to lose. When you have nothing on the line but a good spot in the draft. I understand that. But when you are still in playoff contention and you know how important getting a win is, I don't understand why you gamble in that situation. Like trying to use the logic, well, they hadn't stopped that offense all night, but they did though. Because in the first half, they found ways to stop the Ravens offense. So this logic of, well, they couldn't stop them all night. You got to understand the situation. The same people, it doesn't even matter about that. In my opinion, and I'm okay if people don't agree with this, and I say this all the time, players work too hard to gamble in those type of situations. I understand extreme situations where, it probably would, if your kicker is hurt, he been missing all game, I can excuse going for 2. But When there is 38 seconds left, the Ravens have 2 timeouts. You lose the game anyways if they get in field goal range and hit the kick. Why not just guarantee that you go into overtime if they don't hit the kick, which is precedent because Justin Tucker missed an extra point just his last kick. I don't understand why you say to yourself, well, we can't stop this offense, so let's just go for 2. My guy, you're not number 1, 2, or 3 in the AFC. You're barely a wild card team. Matter of fact, as of this moment, I do not believe that the Cincinnati Bengals are even in the wild card right now. Like, you are fighting an uphill battle. At some point in time, Zach Taylor gonna have to decide to be a head coach. He's gonna have to stop listening to the media, stop listening to these talk show hosts and these former players and all this stuff. Bro, at some point in time, coach your fucking team. Like, dead ass. At some point in time, you gotta understand what's the best decisions and what is the app. Thinking that going for 2 in that situation makes no sense to me because the only thing people thinking is if he make it. My guy, even if you make that kick, like I said, the Ravens can still get down the field in 38 seconds if we playing the game of they couldn't stop the Ravens offense. So what was stopping them from getting down the field and getting a field goal to win the game? The only way you lose this game is if the Ravens get down the field and make the field goal or if you miss the 2-point conversion. But because Jamar Chase and all these other players and Joe Burrow, they worked their ass off to get up the field. They did blow a big lead, but they got themselves back in the game. They gave themselves an opportunity to win. They get you in the end zone on a phenomenal throw by Joe Burrow. Probably the best throw I've seen him make throughout his career. That was a throw and just a majestic catch by Jamar Chase. After that, I don't understand why in your head you don't immediately say, we get the 1 point and we head into overtime. As a matter of fact, I even could understand this if this was like the first or second game of the season because you don't even understand how the season is going. You might not really know or understand how the season is going to play out to that point. Like, you don't expect to have the record that you have right now if you're Cincinnati. So even if this was the beginning of the season, I would understand them going for 2 in that situation. But right now, when you know what your season outlook is at this very moment, when you know you cannot afford to gamble in this situation, like to only tell yourself to tell yourself we can't stop the Ravens offense, so that's why we should go for it, and we want to go for it to win the game. I don't understand how that could outweigh you saying to yourself, bro, we have to take this 1 point to tie this game and pray and hope and coach up this defense to try to get a stop and at all costs try to get this game into overtime. Because the only way we lose this game now is if they hit a field goal. Justin Tucker just missed an extra point. He can miss a field goal. We done seen him miss field goals this season. I don't understand how none of that comes into play or not enough to where you say, let me take this guaranteed kick extra point, because it's more than not guaranteed he's going to hit that extra point, even though you could argue, well, Justin Tucker just missed an extra point. You're very right. None of that to me should outweigh taking that extra point and trying to get it in overtime. Because if you're the Cincinnati, hell, even the Ravens at 7-3 could not afford, in my opinion, to gamble in that situation. Like if the roles were reversed, the Ravens couldn't afford to gamble because even though they sitting at 7-3, they second in the NFC North. The records on some of these slides is going to be from Thursday night because I made a lot of these on Thursday night. They're not going to reflect what just happened today on Sunday. So I know that the Ravens are second place in the division and the Steelers are now 8-3 or 8-2 on the season, not 7-2. But anyways, the Ravens, in my opinion, wouldn't be able to afford going for it on 2 in that situation, saying, let's just go try to win it right now because we don't want to go into overtime. Like, I don't like that pre-knowledge, that pre-planning shit where you people basically say, yeah, they talk themselves into why they shouldn't go into overtime. For me, the overtime rule is nothing wrong with the overtime rule. Now, like, y'all want it to be like college football, and that is just unrealistic because motherfuckers cannot be on the field for extra 2 hour after they just played 2-3 hour long, 2-3 hour long football game. You do not want these dudes out there for extra amounts of time with the possibility continuously increasing on them getting hurt. You don't want that. So I'm never going to agree with trying to have the college overtime rule. The overtime rule as it is right now to me is fine. Coaches get paid to coach and players get paid to make a play. I do not care about fatigue and all of this shit. When you want something, we done seen multiple teams go into overtime after a full game and get stops. So I'm not trying to hear that shit where it's, the first team to get the first team to get the ball do not always win. So I'm not trying to hear that. Not to mention, let's say the Bengals said to themselves, if we go into overtime and they get the ball first, they could win. Your offense basically been lighting the Ravens up all game. Why would you not say to yourself, if we get the ball first in overtime, we could win? Like, I really don't understand it. I would not have went for 2 in that situation. I would have just took the 1 point and tried to hope my defense got a fucking stop. Like, it's just nothing in me would have went for 2 because I'm sitting at 4-5 right now. Even if I win this game, I'm 5-5, meaning I got to win another game to get over 500. Not only do I need to win another game, if I beat the Ravens in this game, they just moved to 7-4. I still, not to mention, I split the season series with them at that point. I would still need to. It's not as simple as, well, we beat the Ravens, and we won this game, so now we fight. They still have 2 more wins than you. So even if you win again to get over 500, to get to 6-5, now you have to hope. Not only do you have to hope that the Ravens lose again to get at 7 to move from 7-4 to 7-5. But then you have to win again and hope the Ravens lose again. And that's not a game that you want to play. So, in my opinion, it's just hard for me to go for 2 in that situation because I know that if I hit this field goal, or when I hit this field goal, this extra point, I'm almost guaranteeing overtime. I'm damn near guaranteeing overtime. And if we get the ball first, then we gonna go down there and win the game. So listen, I know a lot of people done already talked themselves into he should have went for 2 and they not gonna move off of that. But I'm just not I'm not a go for 2 type of motherfucker. If you ain't playing for shit, sure, go for 2. But in situations like this where the Bengals need every single win they can possibly get, it's just hard for me to go for 2. But in looking at this game, one of the things that I'm tired of hearing, it's very upsetting. It's a bit like I'm upset that I keep hearing motherfuckers say shit like, Joe Burrow got to be so perfect because the Bengals defense. Yo, the Ravens have one of the worst defenses, if not the worst defense in the NFL. Lamar Jackson got to be perfect. Like, I'm confused. I just watched the Ravens defense. Well, a couple nights ago, I watched the Ravens defense give up damn near 300 yards to one dude. The worst part is not even that Jamar Chase went crazy like this. I tell you before every game the Ravens play against the Bengals, Jamar Chase is going to score. He's going to have a great game. The worst part is T. Higgins didn't play. So you knew that Jamar Chase should have been your main focus. You knew that you should have been double teaming Jamar Chase. You knew that your game plan was to stop Jamar Chase. And you still let this nigga go for damn near 300 yards, 3 tutties. Embarrassing. But I got to keep hearing John Harbaugh defend Zach Orr and the players. Got to hear Marlon Humphreys defend Zach Orr. Got to hear Zach Orr tell motherfuckers, yeah, we figuring this out. We know what we need to do. Do you? Do you? I had to listen to Raven fans go at John Harbaugh because they wanted to defend Marcus Williams, a dude who been playing like ass all season. Consistently looks lost out there. Consistently, game to game, week to week. Let me tell you what's going to happen. Lamar Jackson and this Ravens offense are going to keep being great. They're going to continue to be phenomenal. Lamar Jackson will more than likely take home his third MVP, his second in a row, and it will more than likely be unanimous. And then the Ravens are going to get to the AFC Championship game against Kansas City. And the defense is not going to be able to get a stop. They're not going to be able to get off the field. Kansas City is going to control the game because Pat Mahomes, Andy Reid are the two that would understand how to take advantage of a god-awful Baltimore defense. Kyle Hamilton went down in this game early. That did them no favors. Shout out to Marlon Humphreys, who I done said multiple times is the only guy on the defense aside from Kyle, who are having good seasons. You can argue, as bad as the defense is, without Marlo, we probably don't win either of these two Bengal games because he had the key turnovers in both games. Interception late in that game in the first one, and he stripped the running back in this one. From that moment on, the Ravens scored on every single drive afterwards. Lamar Jackson had a phenomenal game. Derrick Henry didn't really do. I'm not gonna say Derrick Henry didn't do much because the thought of Derrick Henry being there is one of the reasons that you need great players, because you can't sell out for the pass because Derrick Henry is still there. You can't just go all in on stopping Lamar Jackson because Derrick Henry is still there. This is why I constantly say the Ravens needed to get Lamar Jackson a player that he didn't have to make better, but a player that can make him better. Because making him better not only makes him better, it makes the other guys around him better, and it hurts a defense because it forces them to have to defend you a different type of way. When you look, Lamar Jackson against the Bengals, he 10-1 against the Bengals. He's 6-1 against Joe Burrow. They don't talk about how Joe Burrow lose to Lamar Jackson the way that they talk about how Pat Mahomes lose to Joe Burrow. That's very interesting to me. Nonetheless, I came out of this game with far more concerns. The Ravens defense, these niggas needed one stop. One stop. Now, on that last drive, I do not believe Buddy caught that ball in the middle of the field. From the replay that I saw, it clearly looked like he had dropped that ball and it was on the ground. Nonetheless, why even put yourself in that position? Zach Orr's addiction to never having anybody in the middle of the field to defend it is insane to me. When you look at the Ravens, clearly it is not just the players. If you watch this defense, yes, it is players that are playing terrible. But it is so very clear that the scheme, the play calling is god awful. It is almost as if somebody who just don't eat. The play calling by Zach Orr is almost as if he is calling plays that any play that would. So if you're an offense, you say to yourself, if a defense called this play right here, we know we can beat it because this play is set up to beat that play. It's almost as if he is calling every single play that an offense would want you to call in that moment. Like to a T. Anything that you could call that would help the offense score, he is calling. Every move and adjustment that he has made has hurt this team. I said it before, he has not put not a single player on this team in position to be successful. Not one. Marlon Humphreys and Kyle Hamilton are surviving solely off of the talent. Roquan Smith is talented, and he looks terrible. Now, if you somebody who care about all the tackles he rack up, then you're going to think Roquan's playing great. But if you watch the film, Roquan is not playing great. But it ain't just Roquan. He looked terrible in pass coverage, but he has been put in terrible situations in pass coverage. The linebackers around him, most people don't even know any of the names of most of the linebackers. Hell, on a game-to-game basis, I'm trying to remember some of the names of these players. These are not good middle linebackers. These are not good outside linebackers. Kyle Van Noy had a good start to the season. He done cooled off ever since. Odafe Oweh has been a average to below average player since the moment Baltimore brought him into this organization. They done wasted draft picks on players that continuously have not hit. The only player that you can look at over the past couple years that has hit for the Ravens or have played a key role in the Ravens being anywhere near just good is Kyle Hamilton. Marlowe was drafted during Ozzie era. I'm not talking about the players that got drafted when Ozzie was here. I'm talking about Eric DeCosta draft picks. And the majority of them bitches are not hitting. The only one that's holding him together is Kyle Hamilton. And yeah, I understand that's a big one. But that's it. What else has he done to help this defense? People will say, well, he traded for Roquan. And immediately hurt Roquan the next year when he didn't bring anybody in to help. Thinking that these, and this is another thing that's confusing to me. Baltimore living off a legacy right now because clearly you are not developing these middle linebackers and these outside linebackers to the level of being competent starters. But you starting them. And you're not going out getting competent backups or replacements for them. You just promote them from within. That is clearly a problem. Clearly, the players on the field right now for none of the linebackers are good in coverage. None of them. There is not a single linebacker on the Ravens right now that is good in coverage. The pass rushers are just not good enough. They don't finish plays. Nnamdi Madubuike had 3 sacks in this game. Not one of those sacks were impactful sacks that mattered, that changed the game. When they needed him to get a sack the most, he couldn't get one. When they needed Kyle Van Noy to get a sack the most, he couldn't get home. That's the story with the Ravens. And that's why I continuously say, look at TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith. Look at the Steelers pass rushers. When they need a play, TJ Watt usually provide that for him. Or somebody on that defense provided for him. When Myles Garrett need to get home and get a sack to change the game, to end the game, he usually can do that for you. Don't like Nick Bosa, the human being, but the player, animal. When you need a sack, he usually there. Look at some of those pass rushers on the Giants. Dexter Lawrence, Azeez Al-Shari. I just think I said the wrong dude's name. Al-Jalar. But look at so many different pass rushers who you can rely on to get a stop or a big play when you need it the most. Who can you rely on the Ravens to do that? Because none of these pass rushers done shown you that they can get a big play or a big stop when they need it the most. They haven't even shown you they can get a stop when they don't need stops. Like, when they play against competent offenses, when they play against good quarterbacks, decent quarterbacks, they get lit up. All you needed on that last, and then this addiction that Zach Orr has with calling all out blitzes. These zero blitzes make no sense. Your dudes already are terrible coverage guys. And then you put them in that position and you leave the middle of the field open. You're not even for one, none of these blitzes have gotten home for you. You've been punished every time you called them, but you continue to call them. Makes no sense. Most teams that are trying to compete for a Super Bowl, I don't know if they hire a first-year defensive coordinator. And then I don't know if they continue going forward with that hire, seeing as how bad Zach Orr has been. You cannot look at Zach Orr and say anything positive right now. You cannot say that he done put players in position to win. You can't say he done been a good play caller. You can't say he done been a good situational play caller. He got one of the worst third down defenses in the NFL, the worst pass defense in the NFL. You could say, oh, well, he looked good throwing the ball. I mean, his defense can stop the run. Most teams are throwing the ball on the Ravens because why would we run? You are the worst in the league on most Sundays at stopping the pass. Why would we waste time running the ball? Like, and then I think we're about to see how flawed the run game, the run defense really is when they play against the Steelers, a team that's committed to running the ball. See, one of the things is the Ravens haven't had to play against a team that's really committed to running the ball. But just wait till they are, because the Bucs had a good game against them running the ball. You see, the Ravens defense relies on the Ravens offense to continuously put them in position where teams can't run the ball on them, where teams have to throw the ball. And even when they know teams are throwing the ball, they can't stop them and they don't get home to the quarterback. And I see all the sacks that people, the Ravens, a lot of pointless sacks, a lot of useless sacks, and a lot of those sacks come in one game. Like they'll bunch up a lot of sacks against bad teams and whatnot. But none of that matters, because when the playoffs roll around, this Ravens defense is going to get cooked by either Pat Mahomes or Josh Allen. And it's not even necessarily that they're going to get cooked, because Lamar Jackson will more than likely not get blown out. But when he need them to get a stop the most, they will not get a stop. When he score late in a game and he need them to hold that lead, they will not be able to hold the lead. And that is the problem that I'm having with Eric DeCosta. You watch this fucking defense for 9 fucking weeks, 8 weeks, and you went out and traded for Deontay fucking Johnson. This team did not need another receiver. I don't understand how you can look at Rashad Bateman have one bad game this season and say, oh, we got to go get a receiver. When you stack up the bad games the offense has had, receivers, compared to the defense, it's night and day. The receivers have been light years better this year than the defense. So to go out and then to bring in Tre'Davious White, a dude that's been hurt the last couple years, who was about to be released anyways, what does he do for your defense? This is not a serious GM who is serious about winning, but for some reason, Raven fans continue to praise this nigga. I don't understand it. This is why I continuously say Raven fans, most of them, are addicted to being good, but allergic to being great. Because it's no way that you look at Eric DeCosta and think he has done a good job. He has been carried by Lamar Jackson and John Harbaugh. Coaching and great quarterback play. Kyle Hamilton is his only great draft pick. And really, Kyle Hamilton was a can't miss to be a band. Aside from that, what has he done to help this team win? Last year, I give that to John Harbaugh, because he the one who brought in Mike McDonald. And now, because I done heard people say, well, you know, Zach Orr need players. Whose job is it to go get players? Now, players is not the only reason, because I done seen a lot of defenses not have a lot of great players, and the coordinator still have a scheme that get the best out of, to get the most out of his players, to put them in position to be successful. The Lions defense is not great, but Aaron Glenn continue to figure out ways to put them in position to be good, to get key stops when he need them, like they did tonight. And then you look at the Steelers. The Steelers have a phenomenal defense. That offense is not on the same level as the defense. It's a good offense. It's not on the level of the defense, but they complement each other. You don't need an all-world offense when you have an all-world defense. You just need that offense to complement the defense. Right now, the defense for the Ravens just does not complement the offense at all. And at some point in time, they're going to pay for it. And I know they done paid for it a couple times, but to be completely honest with you, after watching some of these games today, the Ravens could end up paying for this in the worst way. Because you see, dropping that game against the Raiders because your defense decided to just get lit up in the second half of that game and not be able to stop Devontae Adams and Gardner Minshew. The fact that your defense dropped that game against the Browns by giving up a wide open touchdown late in that game, when really giving up a field goal would have been better than just giving up a flat out touchdown. And then when you blow the first game of the season a little bit different. But when you look at some of these games that the Ravens done blown, right? Specifically the 2 they should have won. The Ravens should be sitting at 9-1 right now. Because they are not sitting at 9-1 right now, they could end up putting themselves in position to where if they finish in second in this division and make the wild card, they could possibly have to play Cincinnati for a third time this season. Now, obviously, I would take the Ravens to win that game, and it will more than likely be in Baltimore once again. But do you really, as a Raven fan, want to see Cincinnati for a third fucking time? Oh, it's cool that we swept them. Oh, it's real cool. You want to see this team for a third fucking time? Do you really want Jamar Chase to come into your building or go into theirs and have to play this nigga a third time? Do you really want to? I done told you, I don't think Joe Burrow is Lamar Jackson, Mahomes, or Allen. Do you really want to see him come in there with a healthy T. Higgins, a healthy Jamar Chase, knowing they done lost to these niggas twice this year? Do you really want to see these boys a third fucking time? And that's what could happen because of the Ravens defense. I know they're not going to fire Zach or mid-season. If he is brought back, it would make no sense to me. To be honest with you, I don't really know why they don't fire him because I don't know what could make this any worse than what it already is. The Ravens cannot do anything about the players now. What you can do is try to fix the scheme. Try to figure out a way to put players in a position to finally be successful, to be able to make plays. They have just not done. I'm looking at the Cardinals defensive coordinator. Shane Steichen is obviously not Shane Steichen, Gannon. Look at how those guys is in position to be successful on that defense. They don't got other world talent at every position. But it's the scheme. Understanding where your players need to be, understanding your strengths and weaknesses of certain players, understanding where they should be in a defensive set to be successful, understanding what sets you should be calling to be successful. Y'all niggas keep putting Marcus Williams back there and he keeps showing his ass every week. The right move was to bench him. You just didn't think that Eddie Jackson was going to be as bad. To me, I don't understand how you can go from what the Ravens defense was last year to what they are this year. And I tell you, every year I expect a little bit of a slip off because you just can't be as great as you were the previous year. And I always use the Jets as that example. You never expect the defense to become what the Raven to go from what the Ravens were last year to what they are this year. You don't expect the defense to make that type of drop off. And to me, the only way you could explain that type of drop off is not just, oh, they lost a player here or there. To me, scheme, loss of players, the lack of discipline, coaching, and as much as I like John Harbaugh, 11 fucking penalties. You lead the league in penalties. I don't think it's particularly close. That's shit that will hurt this team come playoff time. See, this is my problem. This is what's starting to really annoy me about the Ravens. I don't understand how they let so much of this shit. Well, I do, because when you got Lamar Jackson, it's easy to let shit like this slide. But this is exactly why the Kansas City Chiefs are Super Bowl champions and the Ravens are not. And this is exactly why I continue to say the Ravens are holding Lamar Jackson back and costing him greatness. Because Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs would not allow what the Ravens have allowed. They just wouldn't. They would not have a coordinator that is bad and is of no use to the team as Zach Orr is. I don't even believe that the Chiefs would put in position a guy who has not been proven to be a great DC when they know that they are competing for a Super Bowl every year, because that's not an advantage they would want to give to another team by just simply saying our DC can't outcoach nobody. Our DC not ready for no offensive court. That's not that they wouldn't put themselves at a disadvantage like that, in my opinion, if you're the Kansas City Chiefs. If you're the Chiefs, you would not allow these players to continue. If you're Andy Reid, you are not continuously allowing these players to get penalty after penalty after penalty to hurt Pat Mahomes. You want to know one of the reasons the Chiefs are so great, even when you don't feel like they are as talented as everybody else? Because they don't beat themselves with multiple penalties. I used to say it about Tom Brady and the Patriots. You might hate Brady. You might not think that they were as talented as anybody else, but you want to know what they didn't do? Give you extra possessions. They didn't turn the ball over, and they didn't hurt themselves by racking up a bunch of just dickhead ass penalties. Look at the Ravens. The last couple years, penalties galore. One of the most flagged teams over the last 3 years. Look at how the defense is in some of these late game situations. Look at how they are just all together this year. These are recipes that will fuck up what Lamar and the offense and Derrick Henry is doing. And if you can't see that, and I already know it's going to be dickheads in the media who can't wait for it to happen. So they can be, oh, look at Lamar. He's just not good enough. And obviously Lamar Jackson is not going to be like Aaron Rodgers and go out there calling out his teammates and shit like that. But in the locker room, and Lamar shouldn't have to go out there and call out his teammates. But the fact that they look worse and worse for the Ravens on a week-to-week basis, to me, we got some ugly work being set up, ladies and gentlemen. Some real ugly work. Because I could just see the defense letting Lamar and his offense down now. Right now, the offense got to be perfect. But the media won't tell you that. They keep telling you that Joe Burrow got to be perfect. You do realize that Pat Mahomes, as much as people don't talk, because I hear everybody get mad when they put Pat Mahomes in the MVP category, in the MVP conversation. They say, look at his stats. So you see how off that most of us think Pat Mahomes done played, and you see how they still undefeated because their defense gives them room to not have to be perfect. Something that the Ravens defense is not giving Lamar Jackson in this offense. And if it don't get fixed, it's not going to be pretty. I want to talk about Jamar Chase. You see, everybody want to talk about Joe Burrow. Oh, he had 428 yards. Oh, he had 4 touchdowns, yada, yada, yada. Jamar Chase was the best player on the field for the Bengals Thursday night, not Joe Burrow. And on most days, I feel like Jamar Chase is the best player on the fucking field. I am so annoyed with the fact that people continuously disrespect these niggas on this. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, you take those two away from Joe Burrow, he is not the quarterback. And this is not me going to Joe Burrow. I actually like Joe Burrow. I always say that. I don't like the Joe Burrow supporters or these white dudes in the media that continuously they whitewash the way they talk about the game. That's not on Joe Burrow. I got no problem with Joe Burrow. It is kind of annoying when, what's the point of Halloween? Why you dress up? I don't dress up again. Like, bro, stop being a bitch, okay? Aside from that, Mr. Have No Fun ass nigga. But anyways, aside from that, I like Joe Burrow. Think he a cool dude. However, I will continuously say he is not Lamar Jackson. One of the biggest reasons they can't find a way to beat Lamar is because Lamar just got way more in his bag than Joe Burrow. It just is what it is. I don't even think that the defense for the Bengals plays that bad. They just don't know how to stop Lamar Jackson. We keep acting like they playing against a bad quarterback on the other side of the ball. They are not. That is Lamar Jackson. You see, the thing about the Bengals defense is they keep finding ways to beat the bad teams. They just can't seem to beat these good ones. The thing about the Ravens is Lamar Jackson is carrying the team because this defense continue to give up yards to the good big teams, the bad teams, the okay teams. That's not the same with the Bengals. The Bengals defense shut down the Raiders. They done shut down a lot of the bad teams. The offense has not played against the Ravens defense every week. That's why the Bengals offense has not been as prolific against every team like it is against the Ravens. You take away the stats that they put up against the Ravens the 2 times they played the Ravens this year, the Bengals are an average offense. That's coaching. I done told you multiple times. The Bengals survive on talent, not coaching, not scheme, not being smarter than the other opposing team. They just rely on the talent of Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins. And now they're relying on the talent of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. The problem is you no longer have far more talent than all the good teams. So while you might have more talent than the bad teams, and you might be able to even outcoach some of those bad coaches, when you play against the Mahomes, the Allens, the Lamar Jacksons, the good coach teams like the Washington Commanders, possibly the Houston Texans, the Detroit Lions, the San Francisco 49ers. Well, now you don't come into those games with strictly an offensive talent advantage. Now you got to be able to coach up a team. Now you need the defense to make big plays. Now the margin for error for your offense is slim because you don't have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and Joe Mixon to just be able to outpower everybody else. And while Jamar Chase still had the game he had, it still wasn't enough. To me, when you look at the Cincinnati Bengals, I know they're not going to fire Zach Taylor. They held on to LaMarvin for forever. He gave them no advantage whatsoever. And they never got rid of him. So I doubt they'll get rid of Zach Taylor. I really do. I actually believe if the Bengals want to get further, Zach Taylor, and I'm almost certain he gave up play calling duties, but I could be wrong. They need a better offensive coordinator. Granted, if they do go out and get an offensive coordinator that could legitimately put this team in a position to where they don't have to rely on the talent, but they can rely on the system and the scheme to help the talent be even better, that coordinator would more than likely end up being a head coach within a year or two. Because it'll be interesting because T. Higgins won't be on this team next year. I can almost guarantee you that. T. Higgins will more than likely not, because I do not see you franchise tagging him twice. And I don't even think you can franchise tag a player more than twice. But it ain't another player on this team that they probably want to bring. Well, Jamar Chase. If I'm Jamar Chase, it'll be very hard for me to play another game this season without a contract. Because what more could I possibly do? The man just, against the Ravens. Let me read you Jamar Chase's stat line. 17 targets, 11 receptions, 264 yards, 3 touchdowns, a 70-yard bomb where he just walked backwards and showed his ass, basically. I don't care what nobody say. Maybe it's my trauma for playing this motherfucker twice a year. This is the best receiver in football. He is the closest thing. I used to think that A.J. Green might be the closest thing to Julio Jones I've ever seen. It's Jamar Chase. To me, Jamar Chase is the best receiver in football. And I understand people love Justin Jefferson. My argument to that would be Justin Jefferson does not play with a T. Higgins or a Tyler Boyd. So he did not have to share targets with 2 other great receivers. People keep telling me Jordan Addison good, Jordan Addison good. He does not get targeted the way that Justin Jefferson get targeted. That's just a fact. Justin Jefferson eats up the targets for his team. Jamar Chase, as great as he is not getting 17 targets when T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd were there. And now that Tyler Boyd is gone, T. Higgins still get a lot of targets. Sometimes he get more targets than Jamar Chase. And they got a great tight end in Gesicki, who also is getting a lot of targets. So Jamar Chase is not in a situation where he is a one-man army out there. But in games where he is, look at what he do. I don't think, and I could be wrong, I don't think Justin Jefferson ever had a game like this. Jamar Chase had damn near 4 games like this. He a great route runner. His ability to separate at the end of routes is unreal. His ability to, his yards after the catch, like his ability to make plays after the catch. His ability to take a 10-yard route 40, 50, 60, 70 yards to the house. His ability to play through contact. His ability to high point the football. His Hall of Fame hands. His ability to play through like he can trash and shit talk and all that type of shit and still focus in on the job that need to be done. His ability to play through mistakes, meaning he'll make a mistake early in the game and still can make up for it. Like the ultimate showman. To me, Jamar Chase is the best receiver in football. And second is not even Justin Jefferson to me. Second, I would say, is A.J. Green. A healthy A.J. Green, I would take over Justin Jefferson. But it ain't a soul at the receiver position right now that I would take over Jamar Chase. This nigga is different. Like, to me, when I think about, when I'm thinking about like truly special, I understand what a number one receiver is. I'm talking about a special number one receiver. Like a number one receiver that can carry a franchise and an offense for years. Like Julio Jones made you believe. And Matt Ryan was a good quarterback. He had niggas believing Matt Ryan was legitimately a otherworldly type of quarterback talent while he had Julio. Now, mind you, Matt Ryan had a lot of talented players over there. But the fact that he had prime Julio Jones for the better part of 10 plus years, it just changed things. The fact that this man could have Jamar Chase for 10 plus years, unless the Bengals are just ignorant and choose not to give him a long-term contract. And if I'm Jamar Chase, it'd be very hard for me to try to be like, yeah, I take a hometown discount to play with, to keep playing with Joe Burrow. Like, knowing the money that Jamar Chase could end up making, man, it'd be very hard for me not to be like, give me my bread in full. With the way players get hurt, how short NFL careers are. And I done told you before, if I'm a wide receiver, I do not care about a Super Bowl. I care about winning one Super Bowl. That's it. Jamar Chase done been to a Super Bowl. To me, when we talk about the greatest receivers, it's very rare that you bring up the number of Super Bowls they won. That's more of a quarterback thing and a head coach thing, in my opinion. That's not really a receiver thing, because it's a lot of great receivers who didn't have great quarterbacks at the helm, so they never had a chance. To me, Jamar Chase, I already think the man a Hall of Famer. This man the bag that he could secure. I'm going to be honest, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a Raven fan who don't want to play against Jamar Chase, because I'm expecting that the Bengals are going to give him this bag. But he should be the highest paid receiver in the football, and I don't even know if it should be close. Like, whatever you pay him probably still won't be worth what he is actually worth, because that's how great I think this nigga is. I truly believe this is Julio Jones 2.0. Like, I seen this nigga do things that I'm not sure I done seen Julio possibly. And I'm not taking him over. The two greatest receivers I ever seen in my lifetime is Julio Jones and Terrell Owens. I know for a fact this nigga is the third greatest receiver I done ever seen in my life. Already, I know that this is the third greatest receiver I done ever seen. That's how, it is not another receiver. I don't know if it's another player in the league, two of them, that I can think off the top of my head. When I watch Lamar and Pat Mahomes, I'm constantly wowed. It's only two other players that wow me like that. TJ Watt and Jamar Chase. Coincidentally, I believe TJ Watt is a top 5 player in the NFL. I would say Mahomes, Lamar, Mahomes. I don't really care how you put it. Some people will just put Mahomes because he got the Super Bowls. Some people will put Lamar because they think he is the more pure talent. I don't really care how you rank them. Mahomes, Lamar is 1-2 for me. Josh Allen is number 3. TJ Watt is number 4. Like, I understand people gonna get mad. They're gonna be like, well, it's a quarterback. It's no way I could put, because I'm thinking about the other quarterbacks that I would have, and I can't put Joe Burrow over TJ Watt. I can't put Stafford over TJ Watt. I can't put Hurts over TJ Watt. I can't put Goff over TJ Watt. It's just not a lot of dudes who I can put over TJ Watt. To me, TJ Watt is just on another fucking level. Speaking of TJ Watt, though, the Commanders were at home taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. I tweeted something out today. I tweeted out, and I didn't mean this as a shot, even though that's how some people who responded to this tweet took it. I said, I'm watching this game, and I don't think Jaden Daniels has been like light years better than every other rookie that's playing right now, specifically every rookie quarterback. I was like, through most of these games, he looked like a rookie quarterback. Now, that I didn't feel like typing out a long tweet, but what I was going to tweet was, Jaden Daniels then definitely had the bigger moments out of every single rookie quarterback. But if you watching full games, he still looked like a rookie. in these games. Like, it's the MVP conversation. Saying that Jaden Daniels is an MVP right now, to me, is pretty wild talk right now, because I actually don't think he looks like it. For one, his stats don't tell you that he an MVP. And if you're just watching him play, when you take away those big moments that he have throughout some of these games and you just looking at the full game, he don't look like an MVP yet. Now, that's not me taking a shot at Jaden Daniels, even though that's how a lot of people on Twitter who responded to the tweet took it. That's not me taking a shot at Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels, to me, is still the best rookie in this class out of the quarterbacks and out of the players. However, to say he looked light years better than, to say that the rookie of the year is already wrapped up, to me, it's foolish. I understand his record. I do get that. And I think he will win it ultimately, because he will have the Washington Commanders. I don't know if they'll finish first in that division. The Eagles done started rolling now, so the Eagles will I think the Eagles are going to end up taking that division. But if they win that division, yes, they will more than likely have Jaden, and he continue to play good football. He will probably win Rookie of the Year. Bo Nix is playing good football. I don't know if niggas is watching Bo Nix. Bo Nix is not playing that much worse than, I wouldn't even say he playing bad right now. Like, the only reason I believe some people think Jaden Daniels is playing light years better than Bo is because of the records. But you got to remember, Bo Nix playing the AFC, my guy. Jaden playing the NFC. Now, I understand Jaden Daniels also have a big win on his resume against the Bengals. That is another big thing that's holding him. So I'm not taking nothing away from Jaden Daniels. And he played great in that game. But Bo Nix should have had a win against the Chiefs on his record today. He played good enough to win that game. And the field goal got blocked at the end. I don't know if you call it black magic, Chiefs magic, Trump magic. I don't know what you call it, but the Chiefs is hanging on. They got that juice right now. But I say all that to say, as I'm watching this game, I do understand there was a lot of drops in this game. But Jaden Daniels missed some throws in this game also. I think that Washington did a lot to not help themselves win this game. The drops that happened, the missed throws that, like, late in this game when they had that turnover on the 1 yard line on the fumble, Jaden Daniels missed McCaffrey running clean across the middle of the field. Like, sometimes I do believe Jaden Daniels become a little inaccurate throughout the game, even though we saw how accurate he started off. But that's because they done opened up the playbook and he playing against better teams, better defenses. Now, one of the people tweeted at me and was like, he just lit up the best defense in football. See, I always hate it when these white people tweet me online and say shit to me that they would never say right into my face. Like, that's the thing. A lot of white people, even these young, a lot of these young folks, black or white, they say a lot of shit to you on the internet. I take that back. The young niggas, they are excluded. Them niggas is wild. But a lot of young folks and a lot of white people say shit to you on the internet they would never say to your face. Nonetheless, this dude tweeted me and basically told me to shut up and sit down because Jaden Daniels just lit up the best defense in football. And I didn't respond to the tweet because I don't respond to every tweet. Sometimes I just got to be in the mood to respond. But most of the time, I'm not going to respond to niggas who don't know what they talking about. Clearly, me and this nigga was watching two different games. Jaden Daniels didn't even throw for 200 yards, I don't believe, in this game. He didn't really kill him on the ground. It was a lot of missed throws and drop passes in this game. But to just look at this game and say, oh, well, his receivers let him down, I do not believe that is the case. If that was, I would definitely say that was the case. I have never, not one time, came on here when receivers legitimately were the ones that let down the quarterbacks. I've never got on here and said, oh, yeah, that was the quarterback. Because I understand them niggas can't throw it and catch it. This was not a game where it was just drop that cost him. Jaden Daniels missed some throws. Sometimes he held on to the ball too long. Sometimes he rushed his throws. It was a lot of different moments in this. I can tell you this. I bet you if you talk to Jaden, it's a lot of throws he'd like to have back. It's a lot of throws he'd like to rethrow. Just like it's a lot of catches that these receivers like to have back. I think that the defense for Washington played a good enough game. I do understand St. Jude getting lit the fuck up on the side on that last play by Mike Williams or whatever his name is, Saint something. Really, the biggest thing in this game was Newton with this, just to lose a game like that, where you know they are only coming back out there to try to get you to jump off sides, and you immediately jump off sides. And I understand he a rookie and people want to feel sorry for him and say, yeah, one play don't make your career. I understand all that. But you got to understand in this moment, we in a tight race. All right? And we trying to beat these good teams. And we just lost it like that. You got to be more disciplined. You got to. It's as simple as that. TJ Watt was great in this game. Highsmith got hurt in this game. Pickens had a ridiculous touchdown catch in this game. I know Mike Williams is happy to be with a quarterback that fuck with him and ain't gonna throw him under the bus. Considering the quarterback he used to play for got his ass belt to ass. That's what it was today in Arizona. Belt to ass type of game. The Arizona Cardinals beat, well, first off, before we move off of the Steelers game, Pittsburgh did end up winning this game 28-27. Belt to ass game. The Arizona Cardinals were at home taking on the New York Jets. And they win that game 31-6. Kyler Murray was phenomenal. I like what I'm seeing from Kyler Murray this year. If they had an even better record, I think he would be in the MVP conversations. The game he had today is a game that I would like to see Kyler have on a weekly basis, but I understand that might not be possible. But if Kyler going to get to the level that I would think he could get to, he would need to have games like this every week. I love the offensive game plan. I love that they don't have Kyler Murray just out there running around all the time like he did in the Cliff offense. This offense look like it's got way more structure. It look like this look like an offense that can get Kyler to where he need to go. This look like an offense that can protect Kyler. This look like an offense that's going to be able to, that will have Kyler playing for years to come. This look like an offense where Kyler not going to have to use his athleticism to bail him out all the time. That's what I like about this offense that I'm seeing in Arizona right now. And they got a lot of help. McBride having a great year for them. Great tight end. Marvin Harrison Jr. Like, I think they stockpiling talent. I think they always really had talent for the most part around Kyler. But now you're getting into a more mature Kyler Murray, a more quarterbacky Kyler Murray, as the white woman would say. Really, it's just Kyler Murray maturing and not wanting to be hurt and understanding that the Cardinals need him on the field. So he probably understood he had to change up a couple things in his game, but it always helped when you get a head coach who could also help you change up some things in your game. Because as much as I like Cliff with Washington, his offense and his head coaching style just was not conducive to getting Kyler to where Kyler needed to get to. Clearly, you can see that has changed because Kyler Murray looks leaps and bounds better, and he is coming off of an injury. So I like what I'm saying. And then they talked about Budda Baker. I think every other sentence was about Budda Baker, but Budda Baker is having a great season, and the defense for the Cardinals looks great. And if the Ravens defense just looked decent, like some of these defenses look, they'd be legitimately probably the best team in the league. But because they don't, the Jets defense lit the fuck up, belt to ass. The offense couldn't do shit, and the defense couldn't stop shit. Sauce Gardner's having a rough year. It just don't look good for the Jets. And I understand that they are still a wild card. See, this is why the Bengals are going to make the wild card. Because the Packers, I mean, the Jets are not going to make the wild card, in my opinion. I don't even know if they'll win another fucking game on the season. I do believe that the Broncos will make the wild card, though. I think, as a matter of fact, fuck that game. Let's get to this Broncos game. This Broncos versus Chiefs game was a very interesting game because I don't believe that the Broncos scored in the second half of this game. But the Chiefs only scored once in the second half of this game, I believe. That's the type of game it was. It was a great defensive battle. And quarterbacks made... See, this is when, to me, it don't really matter what the score is because Mahomes and Bo to me, both made the plays they needed to make, that they had to make to put their teams in position to win the game. It's just, you know, when you have favor with the gods, these type of things happen. And Bo Nix set his offense up great. He made a phenomenal throw to Cam Sutton. They set it all up, and Lux got it blocked. I was in awe as I saw it happen. I said, these niggas really like, I don't even know what you call it at this point. Now, in a way, it do feel like the football guys is setting the Chiefs up for the ultimate disappointment. Like, because you don't want to live like this if you Kansas City. You really, like, you don't want to live like this. We saw the Eagles try to make a living like this a couple years ago, or last year, rather. And I understand that Mahomes is not Jalen Hurts and Andy Reid is not Nick Sirianni. But I'm pretty sure even, you know, Big Red would tell you we don't want to live like this. So I'm interested to see how what I took from this game was Bo Nix is a far better. Now, I thought Bo Nix was better. I think he get a little bit better each week, and I thought he looked good against the Ravens. It was just a couple tough circumstances in that game. But the way he followed it up today with this game, I really like Bo Nix, man. And I'm going to tell you something. See, I see a lot of people giving Sean Payton congratulations on how he coaching his team and yada, yada, yada. Vance Joseph, for one, has been great as a DC. I'm actually here to tell you right now, I believe that the Broncos would be better if they had a different head coach, or at least a different offensive play caller. Sean Payton can be the head coach. I don't care about that. I just think he needs to stop calling the fucking plays. If they had a different offensive coordinator, I think Bo Nix in this offense would be even better, because Bo Nix already showing me that he is going to get to a point where he is just better than the offensive play calling of Sean Payton. He's going to outgrow this play calling. I kind of think this offense already has outgrown his play calling, and that they need more aggressive play calling. And I understand you don't want a rookie quarterback just out there throwing the ball all willy-nilly and shit. But I'm telling you, I really believe if they opened up this play calling a little bit. Now, one of the biggest things that's going to help Bo Nix next year is when they should go out and try to get a running back, because a running back would do wonders for this team. A bell cow, a go-to running back that could carry the load. Oh my goodness. That will work wonders for this Broncos team, because Broncos already got a great defense. If they had a fucking running back that could basically chew up clock and help them with the Patama possession, oh my goodness. And then if Bo Nix continue to get better, the Broncos could be a real fucking problem, because the defense is good. I told you last week, I saw what the Ravens did to him, but that to me, I watched that game and I did not come away thinking to myself, the Broncos are a bad defense. It's just, you do got to understand what you're playing. But then you look at what they did this week against Pat Mahomes, and then you really put in perspective that Lamar Jackson just might be having a freaky ass insane year, because they did a great job against Pat Mahomes. Now, you could also say that's a divisional game, so they play Pat Mahomes twice a year, so they would be more familiar with how to play Pat Mahomes than possibly the Ravens. But the Ravens play Pat Mahomes quite a bit also. So, nonetheless, the Denver Broncos are one of the few teams that make you believe, like, when you look at the Chiefs and say they don't have talent, how could they be doing all this? The Broncos are one of them teams that look at the Chiefs, and when they play them, they make you realize, yeah, they don't have a lot of talent, because the Broncos have a great defense, but Pat Mahomes just finds a way. Now, I do believe that Bo Nix and the Broncos are going to end up beating the Chiefs when they play them again. That, to me, I don't know what it is. These niggas just know how to play them. And Bo Nix, if he look anywhere near as good as he looked this game, if they just let the clip go, he gonna have a game where he possibly throw a lot of interception. Who cares? You gotta let this dude grow, man. And I like what I'm seeing from Bo Nix. Right now, to me, Rookie of the Year is definitely Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels. And while Jaden Daniels is in the lead, to me, it's not like impossible for Bo Nix to make up ground and end up winning that award. But right now, I definitely would give it to Jaden Daniels. Running through a couple of these games, the New York Giants and the Carolina Panthers, they were overseas. I cannot remember exactly where they were overseas, but they were overseas. And that game ended 17-20. Back-to-back wins for Bryce Young as the starter for the Carolina Panthers. I'm seeing a lot of New York fans mad about Daniel Jones, but I would like to point out, and I'm going to go try to look for this tweet. I should have saved it last year when I first read it. Or I should have saved it like 2 or 3 years ago when I first read it. But I remember when Daniel Jones got his contract extension and Lamar Jackson was fighting for his. And I remember the Giants fans saying, I remember a Giants fan specifically tweeting, I would rather have Daniel Jones than Lamar Jackson because Daniel Jones is entering his prime and Lamar Jackson is leaving his. I'll never forget that tweet. I'll never forget it. And look where we are now. I said to myself in that moment, wow, white people either just really fucking racist or really fucking stupid. That's what I thought in that moment as I read that. Nonetheless, the Giants lose again, and they said after the game they exploring every quarterback option. The season about over. Your quarterback options you should be exploring are in the draft. Now, I'm praying that another team end up finishing worse than the Giants because I do not want Shedeur Sanders to end up in New York as a Giant. I don't want to see that at all. I didn't know if I wanted to see him as a Raider, but I definitely don't want to see him as no New York Giant. The New England Patriots win 19-3 in Chicago, and now everybody is screaming, fire Eberflus, fire Eberflus. Now, you know, one of the things that's always going to be funny to me is when you got two different type of fans. You either got the fans that's going to blame the organization for everything and defend the player, or you got the fan that's going to go at the player all the time and defend the previous player. So you got these Bears fans that's going to always say, Caleb Williams playing bad, Justin Fields was right, or look at what Justin Fields would have been doing, yada, yada, yada. I don't understand how niggas don't understand Justin Fields is not a good quarterback at this point in time. I had a motherfucker tweet me today when I tweeted that I know George Pickens is happy to have a quarterback that finally can push the ball down the field. I had a nigga tweet me, Justin Fields got a better arm. And I tweeted him, arm strength does not matter when you're not a good quarterback. And he kept tweeting me shit saying that Russell Wilson was bad and Justin Fields was good. I said, so you think Russell Wilson bad, but you think Justin Fields is good? He was like, yeah, it was definitely Bears malpractice, the fuck. Niggas who tweet like that always make me think they got a little bit of sugar in their tank. Dead ass. Like that shit females say. Well, apologies. That shit women say. Alright? The women that I'm around, they always say shit like the fuck. Shit like that. When I see dudes tweet me and say shit like that, yeah, that's interesting. But nonetheless, I done said this before. I don't think Eberflus is a bad head coach. I just don't. I think what the Bears are suffering from is what a lot of teams suffer from. All the best offensive coordinators are head coaches or are in college right now, and you can't get to them till next year. Or are head coaches in college. So it's not really easy to find an offense. Like Ben Johnson is not going to be the Detroit offensive coordinator next year. He is going to be a head coach. It's only so long he can continue to turn down far higher pay raise than what he is making right now. It's only so long that he can ride that loyalty train and try to win a Super Bowl with these guys. He can't do it forever. At some point in time, even though none of the opportunities out there might look as good as the Lions, what the Lions have right now, he gonna have to spread his wings and go take a head coaching opportunity. It just is what it is. So that's where it actually hurt Eberflus. Because while I don't think Eberflus is a bad head coach, I do believe that they need an offensive guru over there. And not necessarily an offensive guru, but somebody who can put these dudes in. See, right now, when you got a rookie quarterback, you have to put, and they already have talent around them, but now you need to know how to utilize this talent. So obviously, to me, Caleb Williams is not a drop back quarterback right now on the NFL level. He's not good enough. And he also not good enough to be able to run his own type of offense. Like, he not just able to figure it out there. So you need somebody who, which is normal because he a rookie. You need somebody who can put him in position along with the other guys on his team to have success, like Cliff is doing over there in Washington. Like you see a lot of, like Greg Roman did for Lamar as a rookie. Like, you need somebody who is going to see. One of the things that I think is hurt Justin Herbert is they survived off of talent a lot because their head coach was a defensive minded coach. Josh Allen, his coach, is a defensive minded coach. So he relying on these dudes to make good hires at the offensive coordinator position, but these niggas might not even know truly what the offense need or how to actually make the offense better. So they might not even be hiring the right guys. So that is a thing that I think is going to hurt Eberflus, because right now it is very clear to me Chicago's defense is not bad, but it's not good enough to where it's holding teams under like 10 something points a week. And even if they did right now, the offense is so bad they probably still lose a fucking game. I think they got to I really don't want to say fire Eberflus because I don't think Eberflus is a bad head coach. And I don't like saying fire head coaches that's not actually bad head coaches. But in this circumstance, I don't know if he's going to be able to. Really, in a perfect world, they would keep Eberflus as the head coach, and Eberflus would find an offensive coordinator that could get this offense going. That's really what you want. And so when he eventually get hired elsewhere, that you can continue to implement that offense. And the guys in the offense done grown so much that now they don't need him there because they have his, they still do what he taught them or whatever. I don't really want to say fire Eberflus because, like I said, I don't think Eberflus is a bad head coach. He just in a situation right now where people want immediate results because Chicago tired of being sorry. They feel like we have the number one pick in the draft. He's supposed to be what he was in college, even though shit don't work like that because college and the NFL is two different sports. And people are looking at Keenan Allen. People are looking at, DJ Moore and all these other dudes and saying, why aren't we great offensively right now? Why aren't we not averaging 30 plus points right now? Well, you still have a fucking rookie. You still have dudes that weren't there last year that just got there, that are still learning the offense and learning their place within the offense. One of which is a rookie. So I understand people want to say it's the Bears organization. I just think fans done lost patience and they don't understand that, it take time. That's just the reality of things. It take time. And can you be mad that Matt Eberflus didn't bring in a great offensive coordinator off rip? I don't know. He didn't know what his offense would be and what they would need off rip. I understand that's something as a coach you want to identify, but I mean, he already had made the hire before training camp because you don't want to go into training camp without having an OC. And I'm pretty sure if it was somebody better in the building, he felt like he would make that switch immediately, but it's not. I wouldn't fire Eberflus. I'm not even finna hop on that train. I'm not even finna speak that shit into existence. I'm not hopping on that train. I do not think the Bears need to fire Eberflus. I think they need to get a better OC. But I think people don't realize how hard it is to get a great OC. Like, let's look at some of the offenses in the NFL that we think is great offenses, right? The Ravens. They got Todd Monken. Todd Monken is in his second year with the Ravens OC. However, he also got Lamar fucking Jackson on his offense. And now Derrick Henry. So it's not like this offense is just Todd Monken and his guruism. He still got two elite players on his team. You can't look at the Bears offense. I understand niggas keep wanting to say DJ Moore is a top something receiver. He is not. They do not have a top at their position type of player over there right now. That's one. So it involves more coaching than what the Ravens need necessarily. You look at a Pat Mahomes offense and whatnot and what they had. They still had Pat fucking Mahomes. It ain't like they just had nobodies over there. Hell, you look at Ben Johnson and his offense. He got a lot of toys over there to work with, a lot of weapons over there. It ain't like he just working with scraps and spare parts. You look at Kyle Shanahan and the offenses he had. He had Christian fucking McCaffrey, George Kittle, Debo, Ayuk. Like, he wasn't working with nothing. So when you look at some of these top offenses in the NFL, bro, it's not like they got dudes who working with nothing, working with a bunch of new year players, working with like, yo, if you want your offense to be great, it's going to take some time. Like, Ben Johnson didn't immediately come to Detroit and just have a prolific offense. It took time. He needed great players to come in to be able to coach. So just saying fire Eberflus to me is just not the move. I don't think, as I watch the Chicago Bears, I don't look at a team and say to myself, the coach is putting them in position to not win games. The coach is putting them in position to not be successful. That's not the case with Chicago. And I can make an argument he done more to help them be a better team than hurt them. So I think impatience is what's got people thinking that Eberflus should be fired. But Eberflus shouldn't be fired. He's not a bad head coach. They just need to figure out this OC position. Also, niggas need to realign their expectations. People thought just because of all the talent they had at the receiver position, Caleb Williams is just going to come in and be otherworldly. Like I said, the NFL and college football is two different fucking sports. And it's a lot of grown-ass men who've been great for a long time who get paid to still be great that Caleb Williams got to play against. But look at Minnesota. They win 12-9 in Jacksonville. Not shocking. Mac Jones got the start, wasn't good. I think the Jags are going to make some changes in the offseason, but Sam Darnold looked like he's starting to turn into a pumpkin again, like I said a couple weeks ago. 3 interceptions in this game. Really, that's what kept Minnesota from scoring more points was his interceptions. And I'm not shocked. Now that the expectations for Minnesota to be great, he's starting to play like Sam Darnold again. Atlanta lost 17-20 in New Orleans, which a tough loss really because you could have put a stranglehold on this division if you had won this game. Considering San Francisco beat Tampa Bay 23-20. A lot of missed field goals in this game. Debo put his hands on the kicker around his neck. He addressed it after the game. Yeah, that's a wild situation. I'd be shocked if the team don't suspend him for a game. That's the type of shit that would get somebody suspended. If I'm a head coach, that is probably the type of shit that would make me suspend a player. Like, I can't have you putting your hands on other players because they having a rough outing. Like, Debo's had rough outings. Debo's had plays that you could say cost his team the game. You can't just go put your hands on motherfuckers like that, Debo. I understand you get frustrated. I understand you feel like, damn, bro, we doing everything we can to win this game and you keep missing kicks. I get all that. But I actually don't blame the kicker. Yeah, the kicker got to make kicks. The fact that Kyle Shanahan continues to basically put his team in position to have to take kicks because he'll be coaching a drive. The drive will look good. And then he'll just start calling dumbass plays that make no sense or have no discernible reason as to why they are being called right now. Like, to me, Kyle Shanahan done a lot this season to put his team in position to not be a prolific offense. Like, Kyle Shanahan to me having a rocky coaching season. And I understand he done lost players. Dudes is in and out of the lineup. But people keep looking at this team, and a lot of people I done heard talk about the Niners just continuously blame Brock Purdy and not having talent. You know, he turning into a pumpkin without his talent. Kyle Shanahan could be better at coaching up, at calling some of these plays at times. Like, honest to God, before I said I don't know who the fuck he think he got playing quarterback with some of his play calls. Now I'm starting to think, who the fuck do he think he got out there on the field at times when he calling some of these? Like, it's unreal. It's absolutely unreal, some of the play calls. People keep saying Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy had a good game today. And he could have had a better game with better play calls from Kyle Shanahan. And I understand some people say, well, you know, saying Brock Purdy should be able to just make plays, yada, yada. But if you tell me that Brock Purdy is a system quarterback, but then you blame Brock Purdy for not being able to play outside the system, then I don't understand it. Because if he a system quarterback, then the system need to continue to be good. It ain't like he went out there and was throwing the picks into the other, throwing spirals to the other team like Jared Goff was tonight. Anyways, Buffalo ended up beating Indy in Indy 30-20. Josh Allen didn't throw a touchdown today, threw 2 interceptions, but his counterpart, Joe Flacco, had 3 interceptions and a lost fumble. And that'll get you beat every time. So I'm imagining that they will more than likely be going back to Anthony Richardson within the next couple weeks, because the results look the exact same, and Joe Flacco has been terrible since he has gotten that starting spot. The Denver Broncos, of course, we talked about that game. They were in Kansas City taking on the Chiefs. They lose that game 14-16. We talked about Pittsburgh and Washington. Pittsburgh won that game 28-27. Tennessee in LA taking on the Chargers. They lose that game 17-27. Justin Will Levis was starting again in this game. He had a decent little game. The Chargers, Justin, I don't really know what to think of this offense for the Chargers. Like, they play the Bengals next week. That's going to tell me a lot about not only the defense, but the offense also. That's going to tell me a lot about the Chargers in general, basically, is what I basically just said. So I'm very intrigued by that game next week. That might be one of the most intriguing games for me next week, along with the Steelers and the Ravens. Philly was in Dallas, and they win that game 34-6. And we talked about the Jets in Arizona losing, getting that ass beat 6-31. And the Sunday night football game, Detroit was in Houston. They end up picking up a comeback victory 26-23 on a walk-off field goal. And I don't understand how the Texans lost this game. Well, I do understand it because I watched it. But Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions in this game. 5. F-I-V-E. The number after 4 right before 6. 5 of them things. And they still won. And a big reason that they won this game with 5 interceptions was because the defense pitched a shutout in the second half of the game. Now, it's not that the Lions defense was otherworldly. I think the play calling, like I expected, is just not that great to me for the Texans. It's just not. I'm watching this team, and when they look good, they look good. But man, it do feel like it's talent at times, and I just don't like the offensive play calling for this team. I feel like it could be way better, but the second half really showed that. And it wasn't even just the offensive play calling. CJ Stroud threw bad interceptions in the second half of this game, but one of his interceptions that he threw, a dude was wide open. He should have had already let the ball go. For some reason, he didn't. When he finally threw this football, he could have still gotten this ball to the receiver if he had to put it on a line. He put air in it, and it got picked off. They didn't capitalize the offense for the Bills. For the Texans, didn't capitalize on any of the interceptions in the second half that the defense got on Jared Goff. It was unbelievable. And once Ben Johnson basically realized, like, yo, we could still probably win this game, he stopped letting Jared Goff just throw interceptions willy-nilly, because Jared Goff was underthrowing shit. Like, it was exactly, it's not shocking to me. I told you, any NFC quarterback can have this type of game. We done seen Baker have it. We done seen Darnold have it. We done seen Goff have it. We done seen Purdy have it. Like, listen, a lot of these quarterbacks in the NFC are system quarterbacks with a lot of weapons at their disposal. If the system is a little bit janky, or a defense is able to, fuck the system up, you get results like this. Now, you don't usually get 5 of them things in one game, but sometimes it could get really ugly out there. But they still found a way to come back and win this game. To me, this say more about the Texans than the Lions. The Lions were resilient and found a way to come back and win this game, but the Texans did a lot in this game to help them come back and win this game. The Texans, to me, got to fix that offensive line. They got to fix the offensive play calling. I do not understand still, and I talked about this before, and it's a bit weird to me, because CJ Stroud is a decent pocket quarterback. Like, I'm not telling you I don't think he is Lamar, Mahomes, Allen, Burrow in the pocket. I don't think he that level of good in the pocket. But he is good in the pocket. But sometimes he do get happy feet at times. But the biggest problem that I'm having with some of these quarterbacks is how long they hold on to the ball. I do not understand. And then the play calling in the second half of the game to continuously have him hold on to the ball as long and not just draw up some quick routes to get the ball out of his hand was insane to me, especially when you know how bad his offensive line is. You have Joe Mixon and you didn't really commit to running Joe Mixon in the second half of the game. Not to mention Joe Mixon is a great receiver out of the backfield. So even when you need to get the ball out of his hands quick, you could have just called plays for Mixon, and you really didn't do that enough in the second half. So to me, the Texans might have a great record, but they also play in the worst division in football right now. One of the worst divisions in football. And I just don't know if they were in a different division right now, that they would be having even the minute, I don't want to say minute success, but it could get a lot uglier. Because I would take the Steelers over them right now, the Ravens over them right now, the Chiefs over them right now, the Bills over them right now. Like, to me, Houston got a lot of problems, glaring. Like, I don't think Houston's offense right now is good enough to beat, like, a Steelers defense. And I'm pretty sure they'll figure out ways to score on the Ravens' sorry-ass defense. But I don't know if Lamar going crazy, I don't know if I think their offense is good enough to match that Ravens offense. I don't think their offense will be able to go crazy against a Chiefs defense or a Broncos defense. And right now that's because even though, yeah, they down some talent, I just don't really like the play calling that much. Like, I don't think the play calling really makes a difference for I think it's more so talent being great at times than it is play calling. Like, I don't watch the Texans and think to myself, man, the play caller really get these dudes in great position and usually got crazy matchup advantages over. Like, I'm not watching the Texans thinking to myself, damn, these play calls is getting these dudes wide open. You know what I'm saying? Like, you look at Todd Monken right now with the Ravens, man, dudes is getting wide ass open a lot. And I understand some dudes running some great, like Rashad Bateman ran a great route Thursday, but a lot of Todd Monken is finding ways to get niggas wide the fuck open. Wide the fuck open. When you got a lot of talent, that's the type of shit you want. You don't want to rely on your talent just always having to beat his man. You want to be able to say, I got so much talent, I'm gonna be able to figure out how to get one of these niggas wide ass open without them even having to try too hard. I'm gonna get them wide open. I just don't see that a lot with the Texans, or enough to where I'm just not really faithful in what I'm seeing from the Texans offense right now. Right now, I feel like the game plan is not making it easy on CJ Stroud right now, or as easy as it could possibly be for CJ right now. So that's just my thoughts on that. But with that being said, I appreciate y'all for joining me on another episode of the recap. We got to watch Miami, and Miami is in LA tomorrow taking on the Rams. So we shall return to talk about that game tomorrow. I appreciate y'all for joining me. Tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody you love them. You could be anything in this world. So choose to be kind to somebody today. Like, subscribe, share. I fuck with you. I love you. And I appreciate you. Saying out.
When did winning not become the main thing? I always say keep the main thing. Where, winning is the only thing that truly matters.
I got the moves like hot sauce. Lil' mama taking the top off. I'm laying down getting topped off. After this, she getting knocked off. I know she loving the money, so I keep on thumbing and thumbing. She say she horny when she taking shots, so I keep them coming and coming. Now I'm putting dick in her tummy, scoop her up like I'm raking her something. You would think shawty red track, the way that she running and running. You getting dumber and dumber, you out here chasing the bone. After she finished from giving me dome, the Uber is taking her home. Hey.